So I'm just going to quickly walk through the dashboard quickly, and I'll kind of share a couple interesting challenges that popped up for those of you that maybe work with Power BI or might be interested. All right, so yeah, as Carrie and Asia mentioned, this dashboard's located just on their website. And yeah, Refine did an awesome job creating this dashboard. The layout was actually just determined by SASS. They actually used a existing Boston crime dashboard as like a template for what they wanted to create. And so the idea is they just gave us some data, and we wanted to try and basically create a little report that would be useful to them. So there were kind of three main metrics that were in the data: sexual assault reports, the number of charges, and the number of unfounded. I believe unfounded charges, unfounded reports. Okay. And so we just plotted totals here, as well as some percentages and some averages. And in terms of what dimensions we could filter and slice across, we had some yearly information and also community information as well. So yeah, obviously we can go through and cross-filter all of these different visuals and see how the totals change. And also we have this little heat map over there as well, showing just the total number of sexual assault reports across different locations in Saskatchewan. And if you're wondering about what the definition of some of these are, actually on the last page, SAS was nice enough to give us a little glossary of some commonly used terms. So if you're wondering what the definition of a report is, what does it mean for report to be unfounded or founded, or a charge to be laid, the last page has a little glossary that's nice for having the definition of some of these terms used inside of the dashboard. And yeah, there's a couple pages. So this was the main page again, kind of inspired by that Boston crime data set. Okay. And, I'm not going to spend too much time going through everything, but if you want, you can check out the next page, which again breaks down those three metrics that we were mainly interested in: sexual assault reports, charges, and unfounded. Okay. And I guess to Carrie's and Asia's point, notice that we don't have any socioeconomic features or dimension information that we can kind of cross-filter across there. I believe this data set came from like some reporting authority, like I think each police service releases these numbers. So Asia talked about how there might be problems with this data as well. Okay, and we kind of see how these metrics can change over time. Okay, and again, all this is interactive. So if you want to just focus on certain scenarios here, you can click and obviously interact with the dashboard. It's a little bit slow because I'm sharing my screen, but yeah, feel free to play around with this. This is on the SASS website. There's the third page here, again, just showing a bit more detail into the data, kind of slicing by different police services across Saskatchewan. And then additional page at the end here. Okay. So yeah, I don't want to spend too much time on there because you can go in and play around by yourself, but hopefully it just gives you a brief overview of what the dashboard consists of. Just also want to quickly mention some different kind of challenges or interesting things that might have popped up for those of you that maybe have experience with the analytics or working with Power BI. So the raw data was in kind of a more pivoted format. If you're familiar with Power BI doesn't like that. So it had summarized according to different years. So Refine did a great job of first having to clean and reformat the data into a form that Power BI was happy with. And then we could go ahead and make all the visuals that were needed. That's probably the biggest hurdle. They might have heard like a famous statistic that about 80% or 90% of a data analyst job is just cleaning data and making sure it's formatted correctly. And so that's probably the case in this project as well. There was also just some few typos or errors in the data set that we had to clean up. And another challenge was plotting, geographical data. So with all these small towns and communities, you can imagine that Power BI might not have identified some of them. Especially there was also some places where they were recorded as a rural area. If you notice here, we have like Humboldt and Humboldt Rural. So we have to do a little bit of work there, just making sure that, Humboldt Rural is not a city name, but we just mapped it towards Humboldt. Okay. So a little bit of work there, just making sure that this heat map behaved appropriately. And I think when we just threw in the data originally, we had some what was it, like either Swift Current or like Estevan in like Europe or something like that. So again, if you graphed locational data in Power BI, you might have stumbled across that problem as well. Okay. And yeah, the colors are obviously really nice. I really enjoy the colors. That was all refined. You think you pulled the color codes from the SASS logo, and you can make your dashboard look really nice and pretty. Yeah, I think I'll end it there. Unless Refined has anything else. And